prosecution team who worked tirelessly to see the case of State versus Bokio Johnson through. On Friday afternoon, Judge Camille Bura sentenced Bokio Johnson to 30 years in prison following his conviction for manslaughter, attempted manslaughter, and obstruction of justice, including a firearm enhancement charge. This sentencing concludes a deeply tragic chapter in the city of the ongoing attack of gun violence and the devastating cycles of retaliatory violence in this city. Mr. Johnson's actions were a direct response to the loss of his son Caleb and his stepdaughter Brianna. They were both killed on March 21st, and the individual accused in their deaths, Hollis Carter, was out on bond and en route to court when Mr. Johnson ambushed them, fatally shooting Mr. Carter and seriously injuring his mother, who survived multiple gunshot wounds. I want to express serious gratitude to my Chief of Trials, Constance Touye, for her leadership and preparation in one of the most difficult cases I've ever seen. I also want to highlight the work that this entire team did to build this prosecution and engage with the next of kin in some particularly dark days for these families. Their dedication ensured that the rule of law prevailed, even in the face of intense emotional challenges. I want to bring up Chief Touye, who led this team through one of the most complicated prosecutions I've ever seen, so she can talk to you about how she brought that to conclusion. Constance?
Thank you, boss. Good morning. This, as Jason Williams said, this was not an easy case to try. This took a real community effort. I have a non-exhaustive list here of people I'd like to thank, and it speaks to how much had to be done to put this case together and to pull it together. As far as our team, she's not here with us today, but Miss Jasmine Hillier, she was the victim witness coordinator on this case. She carried the family through this case. This was especially difficult because the victim, the surviving mother of Mr. Hollis Carter, also sustained several high caliber gunshot wounds. She has complications to this day that will likely impact her for the rest of her life. This was an emotional case for the family to go through. This was incredibly difficult, and these cases do take years. This incident happened in 2022. Jasmine carried this family through the trial process, and I want to thank her. Liz Garcia was our head investigator. The work they do behind the scenes, it matters. We could not prosecute cases without our investigators. The endless amount of TAs that help us. But I also want to thank the community, because this case could not have been prosecuted without the civilian witnesses that came forward. And that's what gives these cases the strength, so the state can get it beyond that line and get the jurors beyond a reasonable doubt and firmly convinced of the truth of the charge. And we couldn't do that without the witnesses that came forward in this matter. I also want to thank the surviving victim, the mother of Hollis Carter, who testified in the trial against the defendant. NOPD had many, this is not an exhaustive list, but the first responding officers from the 3rd District, many officers from the Homicide Unit, James Dysberg, Matthew Riffle, Donald Williard, Miles Guerreri, Walter Edmond, Jamani Roy, former Detective Christopher Puccio, Officer Cody Odell, ballistics expert Kenneth Leary, geotime expert Charles Dion with Crime Analytics, and crime tech Smith and Crum. Other agencies include EMS. I want to thank UMC for the life-saving measures they provided for the victim mother in this matter, and then the Orleans Parish Communications District. All of these people came together to put forward a case, to testify, to convince 12 jurors unanimously. It was a community effort, and it was the community saying no to vigilantism. It was the community saying yes to justice. This case was impactful. On Friday, Mr. Johnson begged for mercy from the court because of the pain he's gone through. But what is really compelling is that even knowing the pain of having lost a child, Mr. Johnson still chose to inflict that pain on others. And 12 members of the community said, that is unacceptable, and we will not accept it. And I thank the jurors for returning the verdict.
Thank you, Chief. As she described, this case was extremely complicated and extremely emotionally taxing. Jasmine Hillier was a lifeline in this case, keeping the families, victim witness coordinators deal with next of kin and families throughout the process, and it's probably the most important glue to the cases that we have to present, because those cases don't always happen as fast as we'd like them to. It involved two grieving families, each wanting and seeking justice and closure. Mr. Johnson's family, I have to say, endured the unimaginable pain of losing two children. On the flip side of that coin, the Carter family was denied the opportunity to see their sons have their day in court. As Constance just kind of walked you through it, the legal system is founded on the principle that justice must be pursued through due process, in a court of law, not in the streets of New Orleans. Personal retribution is not okay. When individuals take the law into their own hands, it undermines the very fabric of our justice system, and it perpetuates the cycles of violence that have harmed and plagued this community for far too long. We're duty-bound to prosecute those cases, no matter how gut-wrenching, and hold perpetrators accountable, no matter what their motivation was. To the families affected by these tragedies, you have my heartfelt condolences, and I will never stop thinking about the folks on both sides of this coin. Let this serve as a solemn reminder of all of those who try to take justice into their own hands. The legal system is important. The rule of law is important. Keith?
All right, we're going to open up for on-topic questions to start. Again, to the left of the DA, Ms. Cassie, Deputy Issue.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is, it is a process. Kind of go into why some of these cases can take so long, and if there's any workaround or something that could move these faster.
You know, this case actually moved fairly quickly when you look at the lifeline of cases. But there are a number of reasons why. First of all, it is a process, and that process is in an adversarial system, meaning there's someone on the other side of the V who would like for the case to take a lot longer and have asked for a number of continuances and have the right to ask for those continuances and have the right to file motions. And then you also have the complexity of, as you all recall, there was a higher rate of spread per capita in the city of New Orleans than there was in any other city, including New York, which got a lot of attention. We didn't. But because of that, jury trials were shut down for more than a year, which means it created a backlog. And so you add that backlog to the ongoing issues with the DNA backlog from the crime lab. A case is not allowed to go forward if all the evidence can be presented to the defense and to the court. Thank you, Cassie.
And so say